Welcome to Enrichment Today podcast, hosted by Dr. Amy Christine Blansit. This podcast covers topics to build stability and find tranquility in your life. Join us to discuss topics to improve your financial health, change your limiting beliefs, improve your wellness, and so much more, all to increase your self-sufficiency. If you like this podcast, make sure to follow the Enrichment Today podcast on Facebook and Instagram, and follow the Drew Lewis Foundation on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. You can also check us out on our websites, enrichmenttoday.org and drewlewis.org. Now sit back, relax, and learn to break some crayons with us.
Welcome to Enrichment Today. We're excited to have you for our podcast. Today we're going to be talking about education and how important it is for everyone, all ages. I'm Dr. Amy Blansit. I'm the CEO of the Drew Lewis Foundation, and I'm also faculty at Missouri State. Today, I've got two guests with us. Heather Harden, she is the College and Career Readiness Specialist with Excel Center, the Springfield's Adult High School. And then I also have John Kennedy, and he is the Director of Excel Center. Can I have you both kind of explain a little bit about your background and what brought you to the Excel Center?
Sure, okay, absolutely. Well, my name's John Kennedy again, and I'm a lifelong educator, have about 20 years or so of experience. I've taught in a variety of settings and countries, actually. I've had a stint in Mexico teaching internationally. Additionally, I did graduate work at University of Iowa before coming down here. I was teaching at a local public high school, actually, when I returned to the Ozarks. And I was searching for another opportunity and discovered the Excel Center just before they opened up, so I was a part of the original team. And it's been such a delightful experience. I'm in my fourth year now, and my first 3 years I was teaching, and this is my first year as director.
Wonderful. Glad to have you.
Thanks.
Heather.
I'm Heather Harden, and I too have been with the Excel Center since the beginning in 2018. My previous experience was 20 years in public school system. I was everything from a parent educator many moons ago to middle school communication arts, federal programs, and I was K-12 principal for 6 years, small little rural district. And it was just a little time after 20 years of being there to look for something a little different, and kind of like John, the opportunity came and interviewed, and cannot be prouder or more amazed to be a part of this program. And we have both been there since day one, July 2nd, 2018.
Yeah, and what an adventure it's been, right? So
Yes.
I remember when this was talked about and how it was needed in Springfield. And then you guys get launched, and then the world changed very quickly.
Yes.
And you guys have been able to pivot and still serve individuals in our community. So if you'll share with our listeners, when we're talking about the Excel Center, it's an adult high school.
Yes.
What does that mean? Explain to me, what is adult high school?
Right. Well, it's a high school for adults.
Thank you.
Age-
We're done here.
Not quite. So age 21 and over, we do have some students in their 70s, actually.
Oh,
some
wow.
grandparents who come back and complete their diploma. We just ask that the individual, the prospective student, is a Missouri resident who's 21 and over. It's tuition free. And so we're delighted to offer this to the community. We are one of 4 campuses in Missouri operated by MERS Goodwill. So there's the Springfield location at 1514 South Glenstone, conveniently located at the Glen Isle Center. But we also have campuses in St. Louis, Poplar Bluff, and Columbia.
Awesome. You know, you mentioned grandparents. So I didn't think about this until you said that. My grandparents, neither of them completed their high school education. And my grandfather left home at 14, 15, went out and picked almonds and stuff out west, and ended up coming back to the Midwest, was a merchant marine, lied about his age to hop on a ship, and got life experience, came back and was a builder, and created a pretty good life for himself, but took a very difficult route to get there. They were always embarrassed. They didn't let people know, they just let people assume that they had, until they started working with a group of individuals and realized that if they were helping others move forward, that they themselves needed to kind of own up to that. So they went and got theirs after retirement. And I don't remember how I think they were in their 60s, and they both completed theirs together. So
Very nice.
That's
at
awesome.
every age, right?
At every
There's a
age.
sense of pride
Yes.
in completing that type of program. So explain to me, what's the difference in, so lots of terms that we hear, HISET, GED, and now adult high school. Can you explain a little bit on those? What is the difference, and how's the adult high school play into that?
Well, okay, excellent question. Sometimes there's some confusion. We are an adult high school, so we actually offer high school courses. So the neat thing about our program is that we do allow students to transfer in previously earned high school credits. In the state of Missouri, one needs 24 credits to graduate, and we teach all 24. So if a student came in with 0, that student over time would eventually earn enough credits to graduate. Now, the HISET, of course, is a type of equivalency exam. In some states, this is the GED. In Missouri, it previously was the GED, and they switched over to HISET at some point a few years ago. And so HISET is an exam of 5 subtests in 6 different sections. So it's a high-stakes exam, and students would need to complete each of those and pass each of those sections and subtests in order to receive that equivalency. So ours is the actual diploma as one would earn in a traditional high school.
Gotcha. Okay, so one's an equivalency of the other. When individuals complete this, it's as if they had gone to high school and they have a diploma.
It is an actual, when they graduate, we have a cap and gown, walk up the stage, hand a diploma, graduation.
It's wonderful.
And one of the other differences with the Excel Center, as opposed to, like he explained, the HISET being a high stakes exam, is the support system that is within the high school and within the adults. So obviously the barrier mitigation, any of those issues that they're dealing with, we have free child care. So
It's a big barrier
that's a
in the
huge
community.
barrier in the community. So adults can come in while they're taking classes, day or night. The daycare is available, so that's one huge barrier. The free child care, like I said, the support system. We are able to offer some transportation assistance. So it's just that support system that is a part of this program, and it's not just a one and done, hope you pass it exam.
Absolutely, yeah. And those wraparound services are so important, and that's a lot of what we do with the Drew Lewis Foundation. And the idea that if barriers have always been in my way and no one's ever assisted me, I've never received mentorship to overcome them. If I'm in crisis, I'm going to that hindbrain and I'm in panic and
Right.
having that wraparound service, having a team of individuals that are talking you through those. And then more important, the idea of what happens afterwards. So you guys also connect with things like the career closet. So if I need clothes for the interview, and the career center. Can you tell us kind of a bit about that with what do I do if I've completed? What are those partnerships you guys have?
So once the students get through the program, my job as college and career readiness specialist is I'm working with the students on those post-grad plans. So whether it's going to college, it's finding a job, applying within their company, moving to a different job, or doing an industry recognized certification. So we pay for industry recognized certifications for the students, so we can potentially have students that are working on their diploma, working on those credits, and they could be working potentially on a certification in Microsoft or phlebotomy or medical billing and coding.
Oh, that's excellent.
So they can earn elective credit doing that. So as part of my role, we help them toward those post-grad plans. We have several community partners that we work with as far as employment pieces. We're helping them look for jobs. We help them with resumes, cover letters,
excellent.
Interview skills, all of that.
So you do some of those
and then
soft skills.
We do those, definitely
Good.
do the soft skills. And then we do have a career closet. So if we have students that are going on an interview, they need, help with, finding something to wear. We let them shop for free in the closet, being part of Goodwill, which is what we are. We are the, ultimate, in help you find something.
Yeah.
So we can help them with that. And then, like I said, several community partners as far as, working with Drury, OTC, multiple employment,
absolutely,
staffing agencies, everything.
You're such a great channel to secondary education, and so that handoff becomes really important. And again, those resources that they've developed with you, through you, those relationships with the universities become really big. Because when you accomplish this type of thing that's maybe, again, an embarrassment that's held you back, or whatever those feelings might have been about not completing that step, it is amazing to watch what happens in the confidence of someone when they no longer have this weighing on them. That's got to be a beautiful part of your job.
It is. And like I said, having been in public education, K-12 for 20 years, I loved the kids. I loved that role. But it is definitively a life-changing role.
Yeah.
And you are having these adults that are coming to you that never alone thought they'd get a diploma. Then they're going to college and they're enrolling and they're on the honor roll at college, and they're reaching back out and they're letting us know all these things, and it's amazing to see their success and see them believe in what they can do.
So we really tried to promote a culture of family, a culture of support. All of our students have access to a life coach who helps them mitigate barriers, as well as develops course schedules. And the really neat thing about our day is we actually have a commons area whereby in the morning students drop off their kiddos in the daycare, and then at lunchtime they can go and pick up their kids and they can have lunch together. So kind of promoting that togetherness, that we're all learning and we're all bettering ourselves together as a community.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because we have an individual who we work with and have been working with now for 4 years, who finally had the courage to step in through those doors and really begin to change her future and her capacity. She was waiting for her youngest to be old enough so that she knows as her daughter goes into kindergarten that she's going to have this freedom, and now is the time to do it. And the one thing that's amazing to see in her is how much she loves going there, because of your sense of community, because her daughter gets to go with her, and also what that means for her other children to see mom succeeding, mom going to school, mom studying, and mirroring those behaviors is really changing an entire family's dynamic.
It definitely is. It becomes cyclical, and they see that change, and they see, like you said, the mom. And I will add too that although we have, we do have the daycare, the 3 to 5 group, they actually have a curriculum, so the kids are there learning as well. So it's generational.
It's just important.
that.
That's wonderful. The other important thing that's happening with the Excel Center is this woman is now changing the life of another woman. So we have a second member who also has not completed hers, and seeing the light in the first woman who chose to go has been the catalyst for the other woman to say, all right, I'm ready. I also want to do it. I want to, the way that you're confident, the way that you're learning, the way that you're feeling this connectedness to it, it's more than just going and learning about science, right? There's more to it. And the connection, even that commons area is creating, is beginning to change in the sense of community, and not just the individual attending, but now the influence she has on other people around her who also, for whatever reason, haven't done the HISET. Or the other thing we see is individuals who maybe have had the interest, they've taken the HISET, and almost every time it's math. It just comes down to math. They don't pass it, and then it's just one more thing that's showing them they're not successful, that they're not going to be able to do it, and so they just give up again. And so it's awesome to see that this is an opportunity to come in, to have classes, and to be able to kind of create the dynamic that they're looking for that maybe they missed when they were in high school the first time.
Absolutely. And I think I should also mention that we actually enroll those who have a GED or HISET in our program. You can't, if you already have a high school diploma, you can't enroll in our program because that's what we're awarding. And so most of our students, when they enroll with us, they persist and get through the program. We've had a few who decided to go ahead and, they gain some skills in certain classes. Oftentimes it is math, sometimes English, and they go on to take the HISET, and they've been successful. And so we're also a part in their roles and in their successes, and we celebrate that too.
Absolutely, yeah. And having that connectedness, again, we talk about in the world of nonprofit or in the world of education, operating in these silos and not finding these ways to help individuals be successful, that it might be a path that includes some of your classes that just get them through, and now they know instead of having to do the traditional or your method, they can go and complete the exam and move forward and be able, and vice versa. Maybe they barely pass the HISET, or maybe they pass it with flying colors, but they still just feel that they're missing
that piece.
Yeah, so I really want to have a better understanding of it and to have the opportunity then to come and use that. So that connectedness is so important. Just in general, when we're talking about education, we know study after study shows us that education is such a precursor to overall success. When we look at the idea of social economic mobility, it comes back to education. When we look at capacity for earning, it comes back to education. And not having an education also comes into many negative outcomes, including health outcomes, because our education and our employment are tied to health insurance and access and preventive measures. So really the importance of education goes so much deeper than just, can I get a better job? Can I earn a little bit more? We see that individuals with higher education have decreased cardiovascular disease, so what you guys are doing is more than just, did I get my high school diploma? Can I get a better job? It really changes the overall quality of life of an individual. And then we also know that especially in a mother's educational attainment, it changes the quality of life outcomes for the children in a household. So what I want you guys there's your big, right? Like, pat yourselves on the back. You're doing amazing work.
Thank you for listening to Enrichment Today, brought to you by the Drew Lewis Foundation. At the Drew Lewis Foundation, we educate, empower, and support underserved families through personalized programs and coaching to increase the quality of life and build resilient communities. If you like Enrichment Today, make sure to follow Enrichment Today and Drew Lewis Foundation on social media. And now, back to the show.
So COVID obviously changed this, but when we're talking about how important education is in our community and to the social economic vitality of our state and our country, start with how many individuals could you guys have if you were fully enrolled? And then now where are you knowing that COVID has maybe adjusted those numbers?
Right. So as a district, all 4 schools, our highest number we've ever had enrolled is a little over 1,000. At the Springfield campus, the highest we've ever had enrolled is 220. Capacity would be, near 300 maybe.
So even with COVID, you guys are near capacity.
We went online.
Yeah.
This was pre. This number was pre-COVID.
Okay, pre-COVID. Okay.
Yeah. And so I should also mention that we have classes of a morning, in the afternoon, and an evening. So the Thriving Evening program, we have a lot of folks who work by day, and so they take classes at night, and it's quite successful. So we have had some challenges, of course, due to COVID when we went back on campus, and we've also had some difficulty with weather recently, as we know. But we're really excited. We're out in the community. A lot of people in Springfield really don't know about us yet.
I agree. I think it's a gym that isn't as well known as it should be.
Yeah.
And we did go virtual for 14 months. So that was an adjustment for staff. It was an adjustment for students. And at that pre-COVID number, when we had close to 220 students, and then the world stopped spinning for a little bit, and those numbers fluctuated quite a bit because, the technology access,
absolutely,
the technology capabilities of students. So we've seen, some of this, and now we're coming back to here.
Yeah.
So, the transition back on campus in May of last year, now I'm thinking what you lose track of time. Those numbers have continued to persist and increase. This,
At the district level, about 70% of our students who don't graduate persist to the next term. So sometimes a student starts a term and life happens. And, we understand that many of those students re-enroll for the next term. We are tuition free, and so we're happy to re-enroll them, give another shot. We talk about second chances, but we also talk about third and fourth and fifth and sixth chances. We're here for our students, and we'll do everything it takes to help them succeed.
Yeah. So let's talk about your customer base. Right? We say education is so important, and it predicts so many things about the outcomes. How many individuals don't have a high school diploma?
In the state of Missouri, 500,000 adults.
In just the state of Missouri, 500,000 people don't have a high school diploma.
Yes.
Man, we're failing.
So
it's
an eye-opening number.
It is.
It's a huge number.
So let's talk about how do we fix that. So anyone who's listening who might know someone who maybe hasn't completed, or maybe we have amazing employers in our community who want to see their employers grow with the company, gain those next skills. So if you can get your high school diploma, you can do maybe the 6-week Green for Green program. That's an amazing program that you guys partner with. So if someone was interested in getting involved, what is the process like if I call you or I go online or I'm trying to push a friend to move in that direction? What's the process to get started?
You want to address it? Or
Sure. Well, I can offer a few things and you can offer some insights. So we would invite a prospective student, if it's a prospective student we're talking about, to visit excel.mersgoodwill.org. From there, the individual...
And we'll include that online, so if you don't know how to contact the MERS part or whatever, we'll make sure that we'll make sure they know how to get a hold of that.
And the phone number.
No problem.
Right. So there, registration's free. An individual prospective student can enroll there, and we will contact one of our life coaches or somebody from our school will contact them and explore the opportunity to bring them on campus. They can also call us at area code 417-862-5005 if they have some questions that they want to talk to one of us or one of our colleagues. We're delighted to share with them.
You are delightful.
Oh, thank you.
You are delightful and delighted to work with them.
Wonderful. We are delighted to work with them. Thank you. And we just want to help them the best way we can with the resources we have. And so after they go into the website, excel.mersgoodwill.org, and fulfill their registration, we would call them. Heather, then what would happen?
So what happens at that point is we reach out to the students and set up a time for them to come in for an enrollment. That enrollment piece means coming in, meeting with a life coach, and filling out basic enrollment paperwork, just like you do at your school or you've enrolled your kids in school. Then we also do a reading, writing, and math placement. That just gives us an idea of where the students are at, because we want to meet them where they're at. We don't want to have a student that hasn't done math for 14 years and come in and throw them in a geometry class or an algebra class. So we do these assessments at the beginning to help with the best placement. So if it means that they need to just kind of be in a refresher math course, we say math because, as you said earlier,
I know. It's
math.
It's
like the cursed word.
Yes.
But they can take a refresher math lab class that's still going to count as credit. It's going to count as elective credit, and they can help build those skills, build that confidence to then move into the upper level classes. The same with reading, the same with writing, all of it. So we do those assessments. We, keeping in mind, we operate on 5 8-week terms. So every 8 weeks we are enrolling and starting a new term, enrolling students consistently. They can't start in the middle of a term, but they can start at the beginning of a term. So then after they've come in, they've done the whole registration process, we set up a time. We have a couple of orientation days before the new term starts. So the students come in, they learn all about getting onto Google Class, getting their emails, they get their schedule. So they meet with a life coach, they determine what courses they need, Typically by then we've reached out, we've got their transcripts from their previous school, so we know, what courses they need. We've had students that need all 24 credits. We've had students that just need a half credit of PE to graduate. So we've covered the gamut. So then they come in, and typically the couple days before a new term starts, we have what we call an iExcel day, and that's that orientation. And like I said, they get their schedule, they get their badge. I took mine off. They find out about all the technology. They get another tour. They meet with all the staff. So it's just that hands-on piece of getting ready to start.
They have the skills to start.
Right.
And take away those kind of first day jitters.
Yes, and then they get to interact with other students that are graduating, going through starting. They don't come in as freshmen, sophomore, junior, seniors. That doesn't exist in the program. They come in, we meet them where they're at, and we take them to that next level.
So tell me, I've done the enrollment. What is a class period like? I mean, we were all traditional teachers, which means I've got like a 50-minute class period and then on to the next. So what is a class like? Right.
Well, it varies, of course, by subject and by teacher. But if you were to visit campus, you would see a large classroom that looks pretty much like a college classroom, collegiate style. So we have movable tables and chairs, and there's some small group work from time to time. Of course, there's some direct instruction in most of the classes. We use audio, visual, and tech, rely heavily on tech, as you might suspect. Heather mentioned Google Classroom. We have a whole host of programs and apps that we implement. And so the neat thing about the Excel Center, one of the neat things is that we have a very dedicated staff, veteran teachers, a lot of them with 10, 15, 20 years of experience, and they make the subjects come alive, and our students have so much life experience, as you mentioned earlier. We ask them to draw on that in their, for example, in their essay classes, write about in your personal narrative, your life and what you've gone through. And it's just a completely different experience for them compared to 5, 10, 15 years ago when they were in traditional school.
Yeah, wonderful. So, it sounds like it's doable, right?
Yeah.
Welcoming community. So, tell us, how is this funded?
Right. Well, we receive Missouri State funds allocated from federal TANF funds. So we're state approved, DESE approved. This is a real diploma. Just it's tuition free for our students.
It's the same as high school was,
It is.
right?
We're accredited through DESE on the non-public side, so they're getting an accredited diploma. Our funding also comes from MERS Goodwill. So every time you're shopping at Goodwill, you're helping fund the Excel Centers.
Yeah.
And then we also have some outside donation sources.
So talking about donations, right? In the world of service and education and community and connectedness and providing for neighbors, that whole social connectedness that it takes for us to build a really great social, economically developed community, it takes people giving back. It takes people getting involved. It takes people caring about their neighbors and caring about the change of their community. So if I'm a community member and I want to get involved, what are ways, and you can easily say, man, we just want your donations. That's fine, right? The world is, how can I make sure that the Excel Center is successful in my community? What is it that I can do as a listener to help you guys be successful?
Well, for me, one thing is just sharing with others who may need a diploma that we exist, that we're here. It's been challenging to try to get the word out. Sometimes we joke that we're one of Springfield's best kept secrets, and we're trying to prevent that. So just share with others that we're here. Give us a call. From time to time, we do take volunteers. We have some volunteers who help our students maybe in reading or writing or math. And, we love to work with community members who want to help engage our students and engage our mission. We're part of MERS Goodwill, and the mission is to change lives through the power of work, and we want to invite others to join in that process with us.
Yes, and I would say that just, the funding piece doesn't even come to mind when we think about community support. We think about, having people come in, like you said, sharing that word that we're here and what we're doing and what we have to offer and how different it is from anything that's ever been in Springfield. And then working with those community partners, coming in. I teach a senior seminar class, and we've got a employment specialist that's going to come in and help with the students with how to get ready for an interview, just those kind of things.
What are common questions
what
asked?
are common, and we do those, but pulling in those pieces, those parts from the community. We do other things that we love to have. We do a free Thanksgiving dinner for the community, for our students, volunteers that want to help with something. It's those kind of things that are just that solidify being a part of the community.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, before we wrap up today, I know you had an annual report. We've had a lot of different questions that I've asked. Is there anything that you guys do that's amazing that I haven't asked about yet? Anything you want to share with our listeners before we wrap up today?
You got something?
You have this amazing report that I'm looking at.
Right.
So is that for public? Is that something we can share a link with as well? Or do you guys have some infographics off of that? Because it looks like you should share it. It's a very beautiful document.
Yeah.
Well, if you can,
If
we will
we
add
can.
it. If we
If we
can,
can.
understand.
I think just most importantly is, like John stated, the mission that we have, getting the word out that, we had just really started going, and then COVID hit and everything changed, and now we're back. And it's just like so many community partners and employers and everything in the area. It's just reigniting that passion and that interest in what's available and what's here, and what can we do to help others. And just as much as we're saying, hey, send people our way, we want to be a part of the community.
Absolutely.
I've talked with Zach about what can we do to volunteer and help, because it's that giving back for us that's important as well. And in the end, it's what's best for this community as a whole. If we can all just work together. And like I said, I was in public education for 20 years. I loved what I did, but this is just something. It's something amazing.
Very fulfilling chapter.
It definitely is.
That's awesome.
And I would add, if any listener knows of somebody an adult who doesn't have the diploma, we're a friendly bunch. We are really here to help you. And just give us a call again, or register and we'll contact you. Education in new schools is kind of a scary thing, going to a new place, meeting new people. I can tell you that friendships have been made as a result of, sharing life together. The kids are sharing their life in the daycare, the students in the classroom, they're at the commons eating together, and it's a different experience. And we want to so much invite others who may benefit from this program to consider this possibility, because it will not only change your life, but it will also change your family's life, and who knows, maybe generations of lives.
Absolutely. Well, that is a wonderful way to wrap up this idea that education does affect our community. It affects generations for the future of, and what you guys are doing is amazing for our community, and we are very lucky to have this and programs like this available to individuals who are interested in completing their education. So Heather, John, I want to thank you both today for joining us and sharing about the Excel Center on Enrichment Today. Thank you, listeners, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Enrichment Today podcast. If you liked this episode, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And visit our websites enrichmenttoday.org and drewlewis.org. Until next time, remember to break some crayons.